series, I am not happy with Nord's drafting. I think their drafting has been really, really dog. And moving into this next stage, Nord have selected to be on the red side for this game number 4. So they decided they don't like one power pick, they want to get 2.
Yeah, so I just wanted to highlight here that I whilst it's also draft, I think they're going to have to make some adjustments, of course. I do think it's also gameplay. Like, you drafted towards something and you didn't play it, right? For example, at the second dragon, I believe, they have a Xerath and a AP Kai'Sa, and they're just not poking before engaging. They're immediately starting up the dragon when they could let the enemy team start the dragon, let them get poked out by the Ocean Drake, and then poke them continuously, and then engage. But that's just not how they're playing it, unfortunately. So, maybe towards more comfort, where you know exactly the win conditions of your composition, and then I could see this go to 5 games, but until then, not too sure.
Yeah, changing their ban so far. They are not banning out 2 mid laners instead. They focus on the Maokai here. Yone could still be taken off the table, but the Rumble instead will be removed. So now the mid lane pool is wide open here. The question is, will Nativz just first pick someone here, or will they keep the mystery open? No, they go for the Rill, which is still open. Understandable. Twist has been fantastic on it today.
Yeah, so Hipbrain's very happy. I was about to list off some of the OPs that were still open, and Kai'Sa was forefront of that. 80 carry is incredibly pinched. What do you answer the Kai'Sa with? Like, so some answers to the Kai'Sa are stuff like Varus, you know, you go down to Varus, and then what else is there? I think that's the best.
I think they go Aphelios again like they did last game.
Aphelios as well. Yeah, Denvox had an absolute screamer of a game on Aphelios. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like an Aphelios Braum rotation here into that Nautilus.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see what they do look to pick up here. Again, I think you gotta worry if you're indecision to get counterpicked by, you know, the last game was pretty rough where you get counterpicked by the Trundle. Trundle was a really big pick in that last game. Obviously very situational, so don't really expect to see it get picked up here. Vladdy's just been on full, all right, Omen, you don't get to play this pick. We're gonna counter it away from you the entire game. As he does lock that one in. Now moving towards the next pickup, assuming this to be the ADC, unless they really want to have Denvoxney pinched out in this next in this next ban phase. The question is what's Omen going to pick up? Because I feel like this forces Omen to pick his mid laner here. I'm not sold on the Xerath. I don't think it really did anything for them. So I'd like to see something else show up. The Jace is open, which is a big thing. That's been banned all game, all series, and it's Omen looked so good on that Jace. And I know it's a little bit rougher earlier, but I feel like it has to be the Jace here.
Yeah, so you're not going to secure Braum, which would be really, really damn good into this. But to be fair, you're also playing against Poke with that Braum, so whilst you can absorb some of the hits, it's not exactly like you're guaranteed to play against a bunch of hard engage. So Kai'Sa, Jace, the makings of a Poke composition. You probably want to pair that off with some more dive or space creation, like a tank. Please, for goodness sake, draft a tank for cash costs. For some reason, he's been putting a lot more carries recently, and whilst he's been performing okay, I think last game really highlighted the skill gap in terms of carry versus carry top lane in this series, right? Versus Shikari. I think Shikari's just had his number.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Shikari is honestly walked all over Kakos this entire series. But then
Poppy,
again,
potentially,
I do think, to be fair to Kakos, he's been drafting into those bad matchups quite a lot, which has also been a bit of a problem. Poppy, like you said, is a pretty solid ban. We've seen a lot of people looking to pick and ban the Poppy. I don't think Nord ban the Poppy. I think they pick it for either Indecision or Kakos as a flex pick. So I feel like Nativz probably want to be looking to ban that now.
Yeah, the Sejuani ban, I do like that, though, with the fact that Trundle being taken away. You have to ban the Sejuani, otherwise leaving a big power pick open. Now, though, yeah, looking at other opportunities. I mean, the Ivan is open again if they want to try and go for something like that. The Poppy, that has been banned a couple of times in the series, is also open if you want to throw that in the jungle. So there are definitely opportunities there to be taken, but the two main ones being taken away are the Sejuani and Maokai.
I feel like it's Poppy here, right? It's got to be. Oh, they go to Vi. Okay. Actually, I don't entirely dislike the Vi, because if they put twists on the Rel and then pick Vi for Stefan, Kakos just gets chased wherever he goes. So I actually don't entirely dislike it. It does leave things like that Poppy open, but then Nord could just lean away from that kind of that engage style and just play around the Steadfast Presence that way.
I think whilst it's been hit with nerfs, so it's typically not on everyone's radar anymore, it's actually a pretty good, like, I also expected the Nocturne, right? I was going to say I expected Nocturne for the side of Nord, but they didn't pick, they went for the Vi instead, because it synergizes well with the Kai'Sa, with the dive potential. But now, you have a lot of point and click to get on Denvoxney, on this Aphelios, on Vladdy, on the Azir, in that Vi ultimate, and in that Nautilus ultimate, into the Kai'Sa dash. So, looks like they're going to run back the Kennen And this is a really nice pairing with the Nocturne, because what you can do is you can Nocturne ult, and then suddenly there's a Kennen ult flying out the darkness, and you just cannot react, right? So it's a really, really good pairing. It's the same reason why Nico Nocturne is good, and let's see what Kennen's landed out with. If it's this Gragas, that's pretty miserable early levels, but then it scales up as you get points in Q. I can see it being an okay answer.
It looks like that might just be the answer. They are going to lock in the Gragas there. No?
No way. Why are you taking that again?
Okay, cool. Well,
I was
actually,
joking gonna say he was not. He's gonna pick the Aatrox here, but I thought it's not worth saying because obviously he's not gonna do that. He just got clapped in that matchup, and then he ends up locking it in again as the counter pick. By the way, he chose this matchup. We just saw him get dismantled in the last game. You're a do or die Nord. You have to win this game if you want to keep your hope at an NLC title alive. I'm asking a lot of questions. I really like what Nativz have going on here. I like Shikari on the cannon again. I like the Nocturne to add that extra bit of engage. I do like some of the things Nord have done, but they've just thrown a wrench into their own plans with this Aatrox top lane again. Yeah. And I am grasping at straws to see how they should be winning, how they have won this draft.
Yeah, it's really, really peculiar, right? Self-countering yourself, does this just scream that you have champion pool issues for catch costs? Like, do you have no answer into Kennen? Yes, Aatrox in isolation at the moment is an incredible champion, right? You just went down 40 CS and 2 plates in isolation in 14 minutes, right? You can't afford to do that still. It's going to feed into that dive fantasy that they have with the Vibe, with the Aatrox, with the Kai'Sa, where you potentially go on one target, get the reset for Aatrox, and run over the rest of the fight. Still, not too convinced with it.
No, we raised this in the last game, but we talked, but it seems like Catcost might struggle from some champ pool issues at the moment. And to me, that just about confirmed it. The Gragas, like you said, it's not a hard counter. It's not a winning lane, but it's just a way better lane. It's an easier lane to manage.
I would have preferred it so much more because the lane is way better, right? It's still not amazing, it's better. And on top of that, you have a really nice interaction with your team composition where if someone gets point and click ulted, you can then drop a cast behind that person that your Vi ultimated, and then bring the enemy carry into you. Like, for example, if Felios gets ulted by Vi, just cast behind him. And it's so free. It's a very go-to standard combo with Vi Gragas, but instead, you opt for this. Maybe you want more AD, maybe catch cost is more comfortable as champion, but still can't help but feel a bit underwhelmed.
Yeah, I have concerns going into this game number 4, unfortunately. I do think, you know, again, Nord have been given some of their more comfortable picks. Obviously, the Xayah is our comfortable Hiddo pick, but we also, as you stated, 2 pentakills on the Kai'Sa. It's definitely in a very strong position right now, and Hiddo has managed it relatively well when he's had his hands onto it. Omen, I think I've seen one mediocre game from him from Jace. Not even bad, just mediocre. The rest of the game's actually really good. So that is an area to watch, and we did highlight this at the beginning of the day. Omen versus Vladdy is probably the most interesting matchup because we feel that both of these two can have such a major impact for their team and decide everything. I think Vladdy's done a pretty good job of just stabilizing Omen and kind of almost making him into a nothing champion and a nothing player for the team. But we'll have to see. Omen really needs to find that pop-off moment because the last 2 games, it's been very disappointing on the side of Nord.
Yeah, and he was really good in the first game as well, alongside Kashkas, who really were the main difference makers to get that win over the line in game number 1. Kashkas has really faltered throughout the series. Omen hasn't been able to find the pop-off plays either, so, you know, getting him back into comfort, really, really good for him there. The thing about Hiddo, getting him playing that Kai'Sa, you have to go the AP build. You have a very AD-heavy comp, so you have to go the AP Kai'Sa. That leaves, or that means that you need to wait for 3 items to really be able to do anything. And I'm scared for Nord that if Nativz find an early lead again, they'll snowball before Hiddo even comes online.
Yeah, a lot of volatile trades in the mid lane. I imagine bot lane is going to be equally volatile with these hard engaged supports. If someone oversteps, that's an easy summoner into a potential gank from either team. Both teams have junglers who want to full clear, hit level 6 as soon as possible, and then make plays with those ultimates with the Assault Battery and that Nocturne ultimate as well. So I imagine what's probably going to happen is a full clear, and then if Indecision can find something bot side, as he's full clear into bot side, then a single gank. But that's about it until they both hit level 6, about 78 minutes in. And then potentially a fight with a pick before Rift Herald.
So Omen just continuing to try and trade onto Vladdy, just gets the Q off.
Yeah.
Constantly looking for those opportunities to trade out onto him. Hasn't got that level 3 yet, but he's going to jump in. Ooh. Low HP, so just send him packing.
I mean, a lot of action here. Early trading in the mid lane.
Oh no, Indecision.
So good for Vladdy as well. Able to trade back well, and Omen being poked out here.
Curious what What secondary tree? Okay, no, phase rush is blue tree anyway. I'm curious what his secondary tree was actually for Omen, because he's obviously pretty standard. You believe it's good inspiration?
Yeah, I believe I
Okay.
saw a cookie in his inventory. We'll wait till 4 minutes to see another cookie, right? If he does have it, then we'll know. I think secondary you can also go resolve in some matchups, but still.
Yeah,
I think
that's what
it
I was
inspiration.
thinking. I was thinking like
Flash
you
is
go like
good.
second wind with Doran's shield, and that's your like
Wind
that's
decision.
your aggro. But Indecision is looking to
Guy
set up
doesn't
here
have
onto
enough mana.
Vladdy. Oh, Vladdy. He can
Well, that
shuffle
makes sense.
away.
Huge.
Dodge on the queue. Indecision's wasting a lot of time, and it's kind of
Well,
leaning
there's
into
no
what we're
mana now.
talking. Vladdy, I think he's out. He's not even going to be under any threat here. That was a lot of time wasted by Indecision there.
Yeah, he's a couple camps behind. It means Stefan will also be able to get that first scuttle easily. Unluckily for him though, he will be walking into this Nord jungle without being able to find anything because Indecision did start that top side, so unable to really build a massive lead out of it. As
Oh,
Indecision messes up the crap as well, just loses even more time on his clear here as Stefan
That's the
now has a
second
lot of
camp.
free time to try and do something. Either get the early reset in, look for a gank or whatever. He's now ahead in tempo up against his opponent.
Indecision's looking a little shaky. That's the second camp he's done that on now, where he's walked away and actually thought that it's going to tick down, and it doesn't.
Yeah, as my Gormish face gets revealed by the camera, as I was really confused by Indecision failing to finish off a camp for the second time, like you said. That was really, really odd. Still, yeah, going for a gank in mid is very peculiar. Maybe you just wanted to secure that reset so that Omen could TP back, and that's exactly what he did. Still going to set himself behind for that, like on that path to level 6. I thought if anything there'd be action down bot side, but there wasn't realistically. These champions, these junglers, they don't really want to do anything. They just want to get to those ultimates.
It is a farm till 6 angle, which honestly, as long as something happens at 6, I'm happy for Nord. If they don't do anything with their level 6, I am concerned. I said it quite a lot today, but I will just reiterate the point. I think Nord are better as an early to mid game team and then snowballing it into a win from there. I think Nativz are better for just sitting back, catching waves, and getting as late game as they possibly can. Get as many items onto Denvox and Vladdy as possible, and then looking to close the game out. And the last 2 games, Nord have honestly just played Nativ's playbook. They have played slow and steady, and they've given so much up
Could
for
be
it.
an invade. I think there could be an invade here. As they know, they saw Indecision hadn't got his blue buff yet. They might go for it. Stefan is level 4, but it doesn't look like he wants to. Is this mid instead? Omen?
Omen's going to get the damage off of the Vladdy, but now Stefan's got him. He can just chase with the Q. Omen, he can flash the wall if he needs to. And okay, Omen is able to get away.
I mean, Stefan could definitely have flashed that, gotten the E on him, and I think that would have forced Omen to get the flash. Definitely a trade I would have taken if I was the Nativz jungler there. Instead, though, Stefan doesn't want to overextend and will instead just leave the wave in a favorable place for Vladdy to now take over the wave and do whatever he wants with it. And in the end, that kind of just evens out the tempo advantage that Stefan had. Now, back to basics.
Yep. Both junglers just going to commit to that full clear. You can see Stefan is a tiny bit faster, but it's not really that significant. Vi is going to get onto those Krugs as well and clear down bot side. Top lane, I want to highlight though, is not as bad as it was before. Yes, Catchcross has already had to expend his teleport. And yes, if Shikari punishes him again and chunks him out again, he's not going to be able to TP back and there'll be a CS deficit accrued there. But this is going much better when you compare it to last game where it was like a 20 CS deficit. We highlighted like an early 700 gold lead by this point in time. Stefan might be looking for a play here, but he's sitting on a ward. Nord are going to know and sniff it out and just be safe.
I mean, he's going to find out in a couple seconds when the ward dies that there has been a ward there. Regardless, though. I want to kind of zoom back into the mid lane because the fact is, Omen had to recall so early on. Now Vladdy in full control of the lane, TPing back in, forcing Omen out. He doesn't have a TP, he'll lose a lot of this early wave. Indecision could look to catch some of it, but that just leave him behind on tempo regardless. So a very big push in here from Vladdy, denying gold from Omen, who we are talking about having to step up in this game on his comfort pick in the Jace. Being forced to lose these massive waves, that's very good for Nativz.
Yeah, really good.
Indecision then, actually not opting to get the cannon XP there, rather letting it die to not show himself. And it's just going to opt to continue full clearing. I thought that might accelerate him to level 6 a little faster and he wouldn't mind taking it. Still, catch cost up there. Getting some deep vision. A ward, a little interesting tidbit is he's getting a ward on that blast cone before it spawns, so they cannot be ganked over the blast cone because Nocturne R range early game is actually relatively short. It's not as global as you'd think. Still, looks like they're going to start up Dragon. Let's see what Stefan can do to cross map.
All right, now he's just power farm into 6, trying to get that put together as quick as possible. It's going to get that second crab, which is way more valuable in terms of golden experience compared to that first one. This is actually the one which is pretty big, and That's going to heavily accelerate Stefan's level 6 spike. He's closing in on it. He's going to go for an invade onto that red side, but
I think
Red buff's actually up, so Indecision's probably going to lose this because he lost half his health doing that dragon.
I kind of like this trade actually from the side of Nativz. Yes, you give up an early Drake, but it's not really going to matter in the big picture. If you can get Stefan accelerated to that level 6 early on with the double Scott and now the red buff as well, you have a window to really try and do something. Sadly though for them, there are 4 summoners on the side of Nord, so they could look to disengage pretty much any gank. But potentially top lane, you could look to burst down Kashkash. Mid lane, force Omen Flash, get him even further behind. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities as Twist. Force to flash away, that's really good hook there from Seneca.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Indecision level 6 now. Maybe you can ult Twists and get a potential pick down bot side, but still, you'd probably rather, ever since the increased cooldown, I believe they increased the cooldown of the Vi ultimate by 20 seconds, you probably want to save it to unlock a Rift Herald or something of this nature. Top lane is consistently overextending. If you ultimate the Kennen, you can probably combo up with that Aatrox and land all the sweet spots, so let's see what Indecision wants to do, but you can see he's really far behind. Typically, you hit level 6 between 7 and 8 minutes. Let's see if this Krug camp actually secures it for him. Yeah, it's going to. You can take a look at the XP bar. There it is. Now, you could see that Seneca is already on the way mid lane to soak XP to get level 6 as well. Who will contest Dragon? You see, he's looking for a tempo gank. This happens all the time with Nord. Nord is going to be sneaky, head through the bush. Last time there was a ward here, so the gank didn't work. Can they chain up the CC?
We're looking for it, but Nativz actually rotating 2 people towards the top side. Maybe not for the gank, but more for the Herald. But it mean there were a numbers advantage up towards that top side, which was a little bit too scary for them. Omen unfortunately missing that shock blast. He's going to get away from Twist before he gets caught. And Nord actually just instantly starting up the Herald. Straight onto it. Indecision and Kakos are just going to start to wail away at this as Nativz try to get control of the mid lane. Now they've got to walk in to the poke, into Nord, but with Shikari coming in for a pincer here. He has that slicing maelstrom. This could be really, really scary for him. They're going to throw the lights off. Everyone jumps into the middle of the fight. That's going to be the Herald. Secured. It's actually going to be a kill. Picked up immediately onto Indecision. The shuffle back from Vladdy as they desperately try to chase forward, but Nativz, they got the Herald. They got the kill. They're happy.
Yeah, really nice discipline from Nord to turn off of that Rift Herald and immediately engage onto Shikari, not letting him even press R. Shikari probably could have pulled the trigger a little sooner with that R into flash combo, but just didn't manage to pull it off because he was CC'd for about 5 seconds until 100. I think you had a lot of gold on him as well. So this decision to contest Rift Herald in the first place seemed a little bit shaky from Nativz. You can see he just bought a Hextech Alternator after dying. So he had at least 1k. Maybe if they knew they wanted to contest Rift Herald, he could have taken a reset earlier and TP back.
I do want to say, though, really, really impressive from North there. The synergy they had to lock down Shikari. No time to flash away, no time to get off the slicing maelstrom. He was chain CC'd, but it cost them a lot as well. It's important to say, if they have to use both the dip charge and the cease and desist from Vi, I mean, then Voxney and Vladdy are going to have a field day because what then will be locking them down, right? It will be all just to take down Shikari. So the fact that Nativz have so many damage for that could become a thorn in the North side if they are forced to use all their lockdown on just one of the 3 targets.
Absolutely. Well, Omen very much struggling for mid pressure at this point as Vladdy two major components towards that Leandri's in and is just kind of one-shotting his way through the waves at this point. Very hard for Omen to really be able to handle that. Stefan getting crab after crab. Actually almost got that paranoia back up as well, so may look for a play somewhere. Might be a little bit hard to make a play onto Seneca and Hiddo, so Omen may have to be a little bit careful going forward.
Both AD carry and top lane will continue completing that cull soon. Imagine Den Voxney before this dragon is going to complete that cull and secure his Kraken Slayer and come back on the rest of the map ready to fight for this dragon, which is spawning in a minute's time. Same for Shikari. I mean, he's got 2 waves away in terms of completing that cull, but it's not like he needs it to complete this rift. Ooh, we're trading as... You can see the futility, right, of trading as Aatrox trying to land those sweet spots against the Kennen. Like, it's just too impossible.
I mean,
he's too small and fast.
I will say, this time around, he's handling the lane way better. Like, that CS deficit is not there this time. Like, he's actually okay. So, to be fair to Kakos, as much as we were critical of this pick, and I think rightfully so,
I think
he's definitely handled it better. But it is still, as you can see from that quick glimpse into the top lane, it's still a very rough matchup for him.
Yeah, I think part of it is also you're not against ganking jungler this time, right? So you're just against the Kennen. You're not against like a Trundle like last time where you have dive threat on, being diveable, sorry. You have gank threat, potentially you have to play around and give up more than you want to. This time it's a Nocturne, and you know that Nocturne's just going to be full clearing all the time. So you can mitigate a bit of that CS deficit that you would have if you had to be careful with the jungler. Still, Nativz on the dragon, in the river first, getting so many isolated plates down bottom.
Yeah, Denvoxney just doing what Denvoxney does, picking them up, getting the damage off onto Hiddo as well. And Omen trying to shove a wave in. It does look like both these teams are setting up for something on the bot side. Ult's available on both junglers, but they're all just going to back off. And Denvoxney, he's just getting so much gold through plates every game we look at him. I'd like to actually have a quick toggle of the gold and see where we're at on that front, because he's got himself 3 plates. I don't know if it's all solo. But
I think it is.
He is very, very scary with the amount of gold he's injecting into himself.
I will say crucially here for the side of Nativz, Shikari's TV just came back up in the case of a Drake fight where CPs needs to be committed. He does now have that available short window before for Nord where they could try and punish this turret. Won't quite fall, I believe. Maybe a couple more autos will be needed for the Bucks to secure. Depth charge popped already though, and they want to lock down the AD carry.
Yeah, they're throwing everything down there. We're going to see if Hiddo can survive for now. Shikari trying to come in with that slicing maelstrom is going to land it onto 2 members and cut through their health bars so quickly. Denvoxney will be able to find an answer out. They trade out. The health bars are blinking on Nativz, but Nord don't have the man advantage, don't have the power. Vladdy with the shuffle puts Seneca down. Omen is quick to follow. The tower will fall, and Hiddo can do nothing but limp away.
And it's just a wipe, isn't it? The entire play goes backwards for the side of Nord as they try to engage, but that engage was so scuffed. It's so important when you have the Nautilus and the Vi that when you engage on Nord, you can follow up the Vi instantly, but Vi was just too far away. Indecision was too far away. And in the end, Seneca tries to go in and gets chunked and dies. And the whole play goes backwards because all the CC is invested and you haven't killed anyone.
Absolutely. I think something that's caught me off guard a little bit with Nord is they leaned quite heavily on more poke comps, and this comp obviously has team fighting potential as well as poke, but I feel like Nord, we highlighted it in game 1, they're so good at team fighting, but their last couple of drafts just haven't really lent into team fighting that well. I mean, even their first game was a 1-3-1 comp, which is a little bit bizarre. So it is interesting to see that this team are kind of leaning away from like a flat, just press your R key buttons like they did versus Ruddy and win team fight, and instead trying something maybe a little bit more technical, and it is not really paying off for them.
It's not really working out with a 5k goal lead now. I'm starting to get worried, especially for Hiddo's influence on this game, because Denvoxney is being accelerated ahead of his counterpart, and Hiddo, as I said, needs the 3 items to come online, and if the game is already lost before that, Nord would have essentially played 2 games in a row without an AD carry. Not because Hiddo has been bad, but simply because his champion doesn't do much until that 3rd item spike.
Nativz not going to be happy or risking, potential throwing the entire game away for this dragon when nobody in the entire game has summoners. Would rather get to a significantly higher threshold in terms of items, be significantly stronger, and then contest. Because honestly, items, despite that big win, they're kind of comparable still, right? You got 1.5 items across the board for everyone. Still, Nativz actually going to start this Rift Herald. Nah, it doesn't look like they're too terrified, right? They know they won that fight, but they're not actually that much stronger. And Nord actually just going to secure both objectives.
Yeah, looks like Nord actually do get away with that. Relatively uncontested. No teleport on Shikari. Not going to be able to do anything about it. Although they are coming over. Stefan does have the paranoia.
Shikari has flash and slicing maelstrom as well, but he's walking all the way up, so will take some time. If Nativz stop some recalls here, potentially play around with their food for a little bit, they could look to get something bloody. Or he could stop some recalls. No, he doesn't want it.
Just on the run, there's the Infernal Chains, and that's going to be enough for them to get away.
The reason why Nativz was so scared to contest there was because I believe their composition is way more dependent on Flash, right? How do you team fight and as an Aphelios and a mobile AD carry, how do you hit without Flash versus a Vi plus Nautilus? It's impossible. Right? You definitely need the safety, the cushion of having that Flash, and they just decided they opt not to risk the game on it, and honestly, a smart decision in the first place.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was pretty chill by them just to hold that one off, and we'll have to see how this Rift Tail does get used. I'm going to make a prediction, but it's going to go down in the mid lane. Try and take that out, because obviously you are playing into an Azir who will just clear through those waves. So if you want to have any way to open the map up, mid-falling, it's going to be pretty crucial for these teams.
Bold prediction, Jake. The only outer turret left is the one where the Rift Herald is
actually, top lane turret and bot lane turret.
Oh,
it's
my
Nord.
Goodness. I thought it was on the other side. Yeah, okay. Brain fart. I take the L.
Yeah, take that. Hold this ratio, bro.
So decision's going to path towards mid with that Rift Herald. Let's see if your prophecy comes true. They might actually alternatively go topside, secure that vision, and then place it there, but they could as well hold it for this dragon, although I'm not too sure how long left there is on that timer. It might not last that long, so it looks like they're going to settle for top.
Yeah, looks like that is the play. It looks like we're both taking L's on this one as Vladdy gets the shot off the Kakos. They're going to throw down the paranoia. Everybody's launching into the fray. Kakos can do nothing but watch as he's stunned. And Seneca goes down. Indecision can't do anything but watch as Nativz will run him down. Double kill for Vladdy.
Yeah, and you could tell they felt forced to engage there because Kakos got caught on that shuffle and walled into the fight. And you could see that despite landing the ultimate Indecision, they couldn't layer the CC on top of it. Azir got CC'd by Vi, great, but there was no Kakos layering the Qs on top of it because he had to run away as Kakos falls.
Yeah, this is going from bad to worse here for the side of North. They're falling apart before they even come online. Yet again, this goal lead is building and building. The only thing going in North's favor is the fact that they've gotten 2 Drakes. Mid lane tier 1 will fall as well. This is looking oh so good for Nativz. Last place in spring, and they're just half a game away, you have to feel, from being first place in summer.
There it is. They are finally going to decide that mid lane probably was the place to use the Herald, as Indecision's going to summon that one up. Vladdy has teleport, so he may just come in and try and defend this. He is going to do so. It should be able to actually clear through this wave and maybe even stop the charge. It's a bit of a tall ask. I don't think it's going to happen. Nope. But, I mean, that's half health of a turret. And they lost 2 kills for a top lane attempt on this. Nord. Yeah. They're kind of just misplaying quite heavily in these last few games.
I wonder what happened in terms of draft and going from the last series to this one, because they've gone committed to a completely different identity. Well, not completely different when I say that, but specifically in the top lane, they've moved away from tanks every single game. I am talking every single game to carries every single game. It's a complete different shift. It might just be because the patch change and them perceiving that tanks just aren't as good right now because of all the changes to Aatrox and Rumble being incredibly good. But yeah, it's definitely, I don't think it's been good for the team. I think they definitely need more stability in that top side in terms of micro, like ease of execution in terms of micro. I think Kakos has been struggling as Vladdy gets engaged on.
Yeah, he's going to get jumped onto. Kakos comes in. What?
Oh, he's out.
An Emperor's Divide by Vladdy. That is heartbreaking. They have one opportunity. And meanwhile, their little scuba diver is going to get run down by Stefan here. The spoopy ghost going to finish that one up as Denvoxney actually may just be gifted the kill. There it is. Lovely little injection into Denvoxney. He's happy.
It is such a disaster, this game for Nord. They are really falling apart. Every time they try and make a play, a simple ability, a simple summoner spell will get the opponents out to safety. And every time Nativz try and pull the trigger, Nord, they throw everything at the kitchen sink to try and escape, but still somehow fall. That's Seneca. Flash exhaust on cooldown, and he still died. It's a horror show now as Nativz continue to grow their gold lead. 2 items soon to be hit on Vladdy. And Voxner already there. I mean, Nativz so close they can start to smell the title.
The ultimate? Oh, he does. She has no ultimate on this Vi. Indecision still going to consider where he's going to do this. The resistance is from the ultimate.
Slicing Maelstrom. Omen's taking damage. Kakos comes in, but it's too little too late. And in jumps Twist. This is desperation. This is just pure desperation from Nord.
Look at the pings coming down mid. They want to defend mid lane now too because they could see that they're potentially going to get pushed on in mid and lose that tower. The problem is if they get picked now, that's a Baron.
They're going to try and rush it.
Oh, Denvoxney's 2 items. He's got Infinity Edge and Kraken Slayer. Nord. Really with their backs to the wall here. Have to try and stop this. It does look like Nativz pay respect. They're not in a desperate situation. They can test it, see if they can do it. They didn't have the right Aphelios guns. They didn't do it quick enough. And Nord rotated over, so they just back off.
Yeah. No potential for a play there. That play topside was extremely scuffed. Like you said, desperation. It just reeks of it, doesn't it? Maybe they don't think they outscale because of this front-to-back composition that they have on the enemy team. Still, lots of space created to allow this fed Denvoxney and accelerated Vladdy to hit. And Nord, they're just going for these desperation. How many times have they been in this tower trying to get it? I think that's like the only play they can come up with, and it just never works out. They might finally be able to secure this objective bounty. It might help out.
A little bit of gold over to Omen. Is going to be able to pick that up. 350 in the pocket. And, you know, Jace is still only 2 items in. 1 item in. So once those 3 items come in, that's the major spike there for Jace. That's when you will see a big shift in power. Hiddo as well. 2 items in. Looking for that 3rd. And also another pretty large spike that can get picked up here. So there are opportunities. There are windows. The problem is you've got Vladdy. 303. 200 CS on the Azir, got that Def Cap, got the Leandries. Like, they're the really expensive items in the build out the way already. Same for Denvoxney, Kraken Slayer, Infinity Edge. Very, very strong, as it does look like they're going to throw Stefan in onto Omen. Omen tries to flash away. Vladdy's trying to keep the chase up as Omen desperately trying to bail out, but he is flashed onto, nowhere to go. Down he goes. Hiddo just nopes away, decides he does not want to even think about getting involved in that, and Stefan gets a double kill.
Holy moly, man.
Yeah,
this game is really just turning up in pace, and now Nativz, they want it all, but Bloody a bit too far forward.
They do get the shuffle back, actually. That's a great pick up there for Kakos. Nord find their opening, but Shikari just zaps the team down. No opportunity, no window for them to do anything. Hiddo answers that, but it's an ace for the side of Nativz.
And Kakos desperately tries to put a team on his back and find that play on his 2 items, but it isn't enough. Shikari with a beautiful flank. Both of these top laners playing so damn well.
Teleport coming in. They're not done. Omen actually can stop this. So Baron denied, as he's not going to overcommit, not going to try and find some shutdown gold. It's honestly better than I expected it to go for Nord, but it's still pretty rough.
Yeah, the problem is, though, that felt like the dream scenario, right? You were able to instantly get Vladdy. He was too far forward. Then you used your lockdown on Denvoxney. But as King of Summer, he just refuses to go down on this Aphelios. He stays alive. And then Shikari comes in, turns around the fight with a slice and Maelstrom. And all of a sudden, there are no tools left to lock anyone down. And then Shikari just gets free reign over the fight. He turns it dominantly into the Nativz' favor, and now this gold lead is back in their control. Almost 3 items on Denvoxney. Yeah. All they really need is 1 Baron to close up this game.
Yeah. Looking at the future dragon, bounties on Denvoxney with no flash. I'm looking at this dragon for Nord potentially to snowball the game from here. Let's see there's some lockdown on Denvoxney, secure that bounty and accelerate that into the dragon, because I think that's your only window back into the game.
I agree. I totally agree. I think also no flash on Stefan is an opportunity. Nativz may just give this dragon up and turn to like cross map on Baron. I mean, the vision setup they're starting to get now somewhat leans towards that as a potential option here. They are just desperately trying to get some vision down into the red side of Nord. As Kakos has found Shikari here, is going to get somewhat chunked out. Actually does a lot of damage to Shikari in response. That Deathbringer starts healing him up heavily there. Shikari, a very different scenario this time around. The World Ender's going to have to get popped. It's a little bit too little. It's a little bit too late. He's feared. He's stunned. Right. He's down. Shikari finds the kill. Nord, though, immediately turned to Baron.
Yeah, and that's why it's so hard to side lane against Nocturne. All these champions, Nocturne, Rengar, Twitch, everything like this, it's impossible. You have no pressure. Seneca flashes forward and fails the engage. Indecision might pull the trigger.
No.
They can't
do anything. They can't. There's no opportunity. There's no windows. There's no nothing being given over. 20 seconds still Dragon. This is going to be Dragon number 2 for Nativz.
And now their recalls are so late. Look at all this vision and warding that Stefan has managed to set up. He's going to secure that Grump as well. You have so many potential angles for Stefan to come flank as well, and Shikari to teleport to, although he doesn't have teleport, but still get in position because Nord are so late. This dragon might just go over.
Yeah, I don't think they're even going to think about contesting it. You can see from Indecision going to red, has no interest in getting involved in that one. And it is getting harder and harder as every minute passes now for Nord. Gold lead, 6,000 in the favor of Nativz. Yes. Massive item spikes about to get unlocked as well when that Bloodthirster gets finished up for Denvoxney. It's going to be huge.
It's a massive lead, but I will point out one silver lining. At this point, last game, they lost the game. So, I mean, they're doing better than in game number 3. And the thing is, Hiddo is getting very, very close to that 3-item spike, so he'll soon be a champion in the game. And then he has a chance, if they find that dream fight yet again, to do something. I'm not saying they're right back at an even footing, but they've still got a small shot here.
Yeah, correctly identifying that the only way Nord make a play is picking in side lane, but I think this draft, this Nocturne pick is doing so much work. Just because of the pressure, it's so hard to side lane as...
Who's got about 3?
Oh no, they know.
Well, taking this
over. Here it comes. Twist comes over. He's immediately going to get jumped onto. Everything thrown down. Omen finds the kill.
Huh.
He only saw one with the sweeper, Stefan. Only seeing the body of a Jay, so Twist thinks he goes in. They have a 3v1 situation on their hand, but no. There was 3 members of Nord in this bush, and Hiddo was coming up as well, so... Very quickly, what they thought was a 3v1 when Tristan jumped over turned into be a 1v4.
Yeah, 14 to 4.
Support.
Yeah, exactly. 14 to 4. Despite getting a pick like that around topside, usually that can mean an instant Baron, but you're just so far behind that it doesn't even matter. It just buys more time, if anything. And you can see every single wave, that Omen wants to get, he has to spam ping assistance to get shadowing on that wave because of the presence. As I was highlighting before, Nocturne gives inside lanes. You can no longer play for these objective bounties inside. You just can't get them. You can never get them because then you get Nocturne ulted and picked inside. So that's the problem with the gank susceptibility of Jace and the fact that, you know, Aatrox as well, because he's so far behind.
Absolutely. It's going to be a little bit rough there as Omen got himself that last Whisper Longsword building towards the Grudge, but it's a bit of a ways away. There is now 3 items on Hiddo. Honestly, when Omen gets his 3rd item, I think that's the biggest spike for Nord when they got triple item, mid laner and ADC. I mean, that's their best opportunity to take a fight and win it, but it's still hard. You're going into a stopwatch now on Vladdy and Den Voxney and Stefan and Shikari. Like, that's a lot of stasis to get through to win a fight off.
Yeah. And it completely counters the composition from Nord that they've crafted, right? They have a composition where you press R on someone and then they get insta-CC'd and bursted, right? And you play off of that CC. The problem is the stasis completely counters that because you just stasis the vial, right? There's nothing you can do. The exact same thing. They've got to find an engage, which is non-committal, that they can pull off, which pops the stasis, and then fight again afterwards. But how do you do that with a Vi?
I mean, you hope that you poke them so many times to Shock Blast that they have to block the last one with a Zhonya's. that's like your one condition on that, to be honest. Because I mean, yeah, you've got a Nautilus, but again, it's a very committal engage. It's the same with the Vi. Like both of those champions, they don't hook from a distance; they jump in to the middle and put themselves in the fray. And honestly, Nord have been playing to Nativz drum for the last 3 games now, and it's shown us why Nativz have thrived in this setting. This is exactly what Verdant did to Nord, to Nativz. They played their tempo, they played their game, and it was a best of 5 that went all the way. And I said it at the beginning of the day, neither team look amazing, but if you're gonna play Native style, then Nativz are most likely gonna win that style. I mean, Den Voxney is the master of 300 CS. That's what he does. That's what he does best. And every champ he's picked in this best of series has been one of those hyperscaling ADCs that suits his playstyle. So I feel Nord, you know, normally right now be like, right, so the next game I think Nord need to do this, but this is match point. So they have to find a win and then adapt off the back of that and take it to game 5. It's a tall ask. It's a very, very tall ask, unfortunately, for the side of Nord here. I don't think it's over. I do think when you get that spike on the Jace, that's a major thing. When you get the Shredder's Grudge and you're 3 items in, it's huge what you get off the back of that. But is it enough? It's hard to say, and I feel like it's a no, but it's not over.
It's definitely a spike that gives them more of a chance, especially with Hiddo hitting that 3 items as well. But the thing is, there's still some big spikes yet to be hit on the side of Nativz, right? 3 items just now come through on Den Voxney. Level 16 for Shikari coming up soon as well. That Slicing Maelstrom will be taken to another level. Vladdy hit level 16 as well. Emperor's Divide just becomes that much more dangerous. So big spikes as well coming through here for Nativz. So Omen, yes, that spike is going to be big, but it's not going to do too much in the grand scheme of things. Not though. They still have 1 foot in this game, I will say. Find one more dream fight and you can have that way back.
Yep. As they contest mid lane prior here, you see the poke coming out. It doesn't sting that much just yet. It's okay, but it's not the end of the world. Vladdy, usually when you play against AP Kaiser, you're a bit more terrified than that. Still going to be reduced down to 2 seconds or so, and you're just going to be able to spam it. Indecision. Bring over the wall. He's stuck. He's got no Q.
A big cooldown forced out there. Or 3, maybe they want more. Hiddo could take a good amount of damage here from Den Voxney.
Oh, that's Nash.
That's a Philios.
Yeah, that's 200 years. Hiddo just disappeared.
Yeah, that's Nash, by the way. He's poked out there. A single chunk can convert into Nash, especially if there's correct guns, and he does have chakrams. The indecision forced to flash away means he doesn't have that flash engage either. Den Voxney just hitting over the wall. That's so absurd. Still, look at it. It's just going down. Indecision's not even going to contest.
Oh, that's the stopwatch. Yeah, big. There's still the vials available.
Onto Omen. Omen gets caught for the moment. The flash is on. He's going to try and bop away, but he is danger. He is out of this fight for now. Low HP across the board. In comes the flank onto Stefan. That's another stopwatch use. There's the Slicing Maelstrom onto the front line. Absolutely obliterating the Hellfire. Seneca can't get on. There's the shuffle back. There's the tidy up. They've traded 2 for 1. And that is not enough for Nord. A double kill for Vladdy. Hiddo launches in to Demvoxny, and Vladdy eats the Calibrum shot there. Goes for another W onto Demvoxny, chunks him out once again. And with the health bars blinking this low, maybe Nord have bought themselves their opportunity, their space to come in. He's just W resetting onto them time and time and time again. Being a complete nuisance as he doesn't hit Shikari with that one.
Yeah, but honestly, best case scenario for Nord. Yeah. I thought that fight was going to get so much worse when they found that Nocturne ultimate onto Omen, but still, he managed to get away, actually survive, and they turn it around, getting a kill and finding picks. Now, Nativz are actually going to be the ones late on this objective. Nord Omen is actually starting up as the rest of the team barrel down mid.
Yeah, they're going to try and get there as quick as possible. And one thing to note is, this Mountain Soul, probably the worst case scenario for Nord to give over to Nativz, because it's given them so many resistances and that shield to kind of eat and absorb a lot of that poke. Too much damage being traded out. They don't want to trade Baron for Dragon. It's not that worth. And Baron's going to get started up once again. But this time, Omen and Hiddo have way less threats to jump onto them. Although that ultimate is back up for Stefan. The double shot blast, shot blast,
Shikari.
And the W can do a lot. Here's the paranoia. There goes the Baron. Shikari jumps in. 3-man slicer. There's the bot back. There's the finalizer. Seneca's down. Kakos and Omen, the only two standing for the side of Nord. And that was the opening that Nativz needed.
Yeah, I think he's going to recall actually TP back there. That might be the game. I don't think Kachkos and Omen can defend this as they barrel it down mid lane. They're not even going to go for the Baron or the Mountain. They got the Baron rather, and they're going to use the Baron to barrel it down.
I think that might be it. I think that might just be the game. 22 seconds until Hiddo is up. The inhibitor falls. They've still got a wave to work with. There is no ultimates other than twists about to come up. Those Kakos has to pull that trigger, has to jump in. Immediately gets called in by the Magnet Storm. Vladdy trying to chase forward. The wave is still there. Seneca's up. The Nexus exposed. And this is going to be it. Nativz take the series. Take the NLC Summer Split. And Demvoxny does it for a 3rd time in a row.